Hi, everyone, and it's good to see you all again. What we're covering this week in MeteorJS is we're resurrecting the ghost of Sacha Greif. Some of you might recognize that name. Some it might be new to you. We're going to talk a little bit about that and what he's bringing to the table these days. Then the Meteor blog is getting dev-friendly, and we'll tell you what the team is doing about it and how you can find your news on Meteor Software content. And in addition to this, we're uncovering some Galaxy team secrets. So this and more we're covering this week in Meteor.js, excuse me. Still recovering from COVID, and looks like I have a little bit of a bronchial infection. I want to just add something, by the way, as we go forward here, which is there's a little bit of an update to the podcast. We have now added the podcast to Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible, and the Anchor FM networks. So this is in case you're interested in listening to the podcast in a traditional podcast format, where you download it onto your device and then just listen to the audio. Now, what we're doing today is we're just stripping the audio from the podcast that we're doing here on YouTube and putting that in. I'm not sure that's going to be the best experience, but that's what we're doing for now. If you find that you prefer to have that format, we'll go back and we'll re-edit those episodes to cut as much of the dead space out of it and make it a better experience listening to. So again, we're offering this as a convenience feature. And if you want us to continue doing that, let me know. Let us know in the comments or in the form, the suggestion box form, and we'll go from there. So with that, I just want to let you know that you are watching or listening to This Week in Meteor.js, a weekly news segment of the Meteor.js Dispatches podcast. And today, your hosts are Jan Küster, who is hailing from Bremen, Germany, Jan Dvorak, also known as Storyteller in Prague, Czechia, and me, Alim Gafar, in New York City. So we're coming to you live from a bunch of different places. We're all MeteorJS Community Ambassadors, and we hope that you find value in what we're doing here. I should also just mention that we broadcast once a week on Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. There's different time zones for each of these other gentlemen. But that's if you want to mark a calendar and keep us in mind. That's when we go on every week, and we've been doing this now this is our 7th week, right? This is episode 7 that we're doing today.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's pretty consistent so far. As far as feedback, we always open with feedback. Then we go into the news, and then we go into different feature segments, and then we do a wrap up at the end. So, as far as feedback, we opened a thread on a discussion on a series we're going to be doing called The Road to 3.0. We opened that up on the media forums. I don't know if Jan, there's the link for that people can see and we can show.
Yes.
All right.
There we go.
And so we've just sort of explained what we're planning on doing. There still needs to be some elaboration on it. We figured we work on this in the open with everyone. And Daniel Dornhardt had responded to it. And what was really neat is that he had followed up with a contribution of his own and had done a write-up on some part of his experience based on this Road to 3.0 path that we're talking about. If you stay with us until the end, we'll talk a little more about Daniel's work, what he's done, and we're planning on going deeper into it with him next week. So stick with us all the way through, and we'll get there. And if you're finding value in this, you've been watching in the past earlier episodes, and you haven't quite done it yet, we would love it if you would subscribe, because we're getting closer and closer to our goal of 100 subscribers, because that allows us to, customize our URL. And of course, the more subscribers we have, the more confidence people have in the program. So if you find this episode good, please like it, share it with others so that they learn about it. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you get a chance. And with that, I think we're going to segue right over to the news, and I'm going to hand it off to the Jan brothers.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan. First item is a topic I have started on the Meteor forums. This mainly at this point is important for package developers, and what we are looking for is to figure out how do we show compatibility with Meteor 3, 2, from the packages themselves, so that in the future, once Meteor 3.0 comes out, we can then possibly add like a variable to our package config or something else that will then indicate, and that will be then able to be shown on Atmosphere that, hey, this package is compatible with 3.0 and you don't have to worry about anything. And that's the discussion that we have here. We had some feedback from Doran, and I would highly encourage all package makers to contribute their thoughts, how to do it best, what would work best for people, so that we have some nice solution for Meteor 3 ready, so it's easier for people to pick up their packages in the future. And going right next to our next topic is that we have more publication of packages in Meteor Community Packages. Specifically, I'm highlighting Meteor Collection Hooks, Meteor Publish Composite. They had both new version releases. We also have a release of Meteor-desktop, this one as a release candidate as we are fixing things. And we have link accounts and other packages coming up online. You can also expect collection 2, and especially probably more closely Meteor roles, hopefully over this weekend if I have enough time to release a new version with async. So all of that is coming up. And please make sure to check out not just this forum thread, but also the GitHub. And if you are in Slack, there is the release channel as well that informs you of new packages being released. And next, we have that Meteor Software has created a new, could say, blog or a counter, but I'll leave that to Jan to talk more about.
Yes, Meteor Software created an organization account on dev.to. For those who don't know, that's an open source publishing platform targeting developers. And it has a great deal of users from the JavaScript ecosystem. And Jan and I are also regularly posting articles there. And so this is a good way to reach the broader JavaScript community beyond the Meteor community itself, but of course also to reach the Meteor community. And yeah, the first article is published by Gabriel Gruber, and it's about beginner-friendly core issues for Hacktoberfest 23. So it's in the same style as the article Jan already published. We covered that, I think, 2 weeks ago, and it's in the same style. There are some of the issues listed and described briefly what they are about in a way that you can easily comprehend. There's also one thing I'd like to mention here. When we talk about Meteor core issues, we actually talk about the Meteor.js platform. So this is, of course, the platform everyone uses when you run your Meteor development environment. And we previously mostly talked about packages, like Meteor community packages. And these are actually issues where you can develop right into the Meteor core platform. This is when we talk about Meteor core. In the article, we linked the article in the description, so feel free to check this out. And also, please let us or let them know if there's anything preventing you from contribution. May it be that you think you're not up to the task, or you think there's something hard to understand, or it's not described enough or something. Just start conversation, and we will all try to get as much as possible out of this together.
All right. So next one, those of you who have been watching your emails who are customers of the Galaxy hosting platform, the official hosting for Meteor, might have noticed that there has been an email, talking about a roadmap for Galaxy. And this one is an open one. So anybody can, submit a feature request. You can vote on them. I have already, as I have been long time proposing, submitted mine, which is for multi-regional apps. So, again, you can find the link in the show notes, or, if you are a customer, check out your email. You will find the link there as well. So, let the Galaxy team know what are the pain points, what would you like to fix, improve, or what new features would you like to do, or at least check out the other issues here and vote them up. And the good thing is, since this is kind of developing in open, we can see what's currently in progress, and we can also check out the changelog, what are the latest features in on Galaxy, and you can also kind of go back here in the history as well. So that's kind of exciting, I think, so that we know what's coming up for Galaxy. And as my t-shirt shows, next item is back to Hacktoberfest. This time I've opened a pull request because I kind of want to push what I would call the Hacktoberfest release. So Meteor 2.14 with the blessing of Meteor Software, and hopefully we get everything done by the end of the month, will be our Hacktoberfest release. We have a large milestone here with a lot of PRs that we want to get in. You can see we've already started working on it. So, if you have a pull request or working on something, now is the time to get it on. In my personal opinion, this is going to be the last, say, major release before Meteor 3 comes out. So definitely something to work on and look into.
I'd also like to emphasize that when you take a look at the milestone of this release, you may find that there are many open PRs already, and many of them are from a scope that, from a point of view that the scope is pretty narrow in some. So this is a good chance to pick them up, even if you're a beginner. But there are also some of them that have been started. People have started working on, tests have failed, or there were some changes requested and then people stopped working on. This is reality in open source. And if you think you're rather one of these persons that like to pick up on something existing, finding the root cause, finding the bug, or whatever preventing the test from passing, then this might be for you, in contrast to creating something completely new out of the box. So this is a good chance to start working from that side. Yep.
Yes. Also, I have added into this milestone a lot of the good first issues that are all around, and so there's also issues that you can pick up and do. Just a technical point that I've kind of encountered on our community packages: you don't have to ask for permissions, to work on something or to be assigned to it. Just go and start doing it. Maybe write, "Hey, I'm working on this," so that maybe many people don't work together. But I will no longer be assigning people to issues, because sadly, from my experiences, that I assign a person and then I never see the PR, and after Hacktoberfest, I have to unassign that person, and that issue is not fulfilled. But to more cheerful things, I would say, before we get to the main news item, I kind of want to go back into the past and talk about one of our, say, big contributors to Meteor. and that is Sacha Greif. Those who have been around Meteor for a while will know him primarily from as being one of the co-author of the Discover Meteor book, which was, could say, a companion to the Meteor documentation and a guide, and kind of guided you from the beginning how to create a Meteor app and create something interesting. He was also a person behind Telescope, so that's kind of where this book came into being. If you are interested, the book is still available at book.discovermeteor.com in a PDF format. It's going to be outdated because I believe the latest version it was updated for was Meteor 1.4. So, but it's still a very interesting read and can teach you a lot about Meteor. So after kind of building was then Telescope, which was kind of Reddit-like, kind of news, or like the Y Combinator news page. So you post articles there and can discuss and vote on them. Sacha built Vulkan.js. This is the current website, which is today it's the React plus GraphQL framework, but you can see here that the legacy documentation show it's Vulkan Meteor. So it was built on Meteor. So another interesting thing to look into. And what has been Sacha up to these days? He is the person behind surveys, what I would call the State of survey. And the latest one that he has been doing is called State of HTML, which at first might seem, why do we need to, really care of HTML? That's always been there. It's not really changing much. And I would encourage you to really take the survey to kind of learn, potentially learn new stuff about HTML. And the big thing about this is that based on this survey, there might be some changes to the browsers themselves. Particularly, they might focus on some of the proposals that are in there and implementing them in the browsers. So State of HTML is the latest one. He is also behind State of JavaScript, State of CSS, and I do believe there's also State of GraphQL. So there will be more surveys coming out as well. I have started a forum thread. So if you have any interesting finds there that you would like to share, as you can see, I can also tag Sacha here because he's also has an account on the forum still. So yeah, please share any interesting findings or anything that might surprise you. And yeah, that's it for the news for this week.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Jan. So I think the thing with Sacha does really great surveys, and we all use them, and you probably run into the State of JavaScript, as one of them. So it's if you're a developer and you're working with HTML, right? Then it's good to put your 2 cents in. I mean, take the survey, participate in it. It's really useful because your input helps give the rest of us, who consume those survey results, some insight into what's going on in that space entirely. So I'm kind of curious to see what the survey looks like. I haven't looked at it yet. Have you guys looked at it?
Yes, it's very nice. As always, the design, I love it. It's straightforward, and one of the best things I like about it, you can add in, pretty much add the item that it's asking about, and it will go into a list of things to kind of learn more about, and it gives you resources, links, that you can read more on it. So that's why it's a very nice learning experience as well.
Terrific. All right. So now we're going to move into a section we call useful resources. I don't think we've in the past done anything with that yet, have we? I'll have to look back and see in the last 6 if we had. But this week, I want to point out, and we have a related story coming up on this, but Meteor is not just used for building web applications or mobile applications. You can actually use Meteor.js to build desktop applications, and you do it using Electron. And there was a forum post not too long ago about somebody asking some questions about this. Here's the situation, which is they were building a game for Steam, and they were running into some problems. The person I think that posted it is user The Slanted Room. And nobody replied to it for about 8 days. And this user posted a lot of different resources that they've used or looked at in order to do their desktop development, and aggregated this all in this thread. And then when he came back and he figured out how to actually resolve his issue, he came back and he put the source code in and explained the workarounds that you needed to do in order to make it work, and basically cleaned it up nicely. So there are two things out of this. One is, I think this is a great example of somebody in the community that looked for help, didn't quite find the help, but ended up figuring out how to solve their problem, and then went back, rather than just leaving it open, went back and said, hey, here's how I was able to solve it, and left that for anyone who might run into a similar situation. I believe there was another user in here, a member in here, who was also developing an application. I think it was Retro, right? That participated in this, and so found it useful. So it's really good. If you're thinking about building a Meteor desktop app, the Meteor the code that goes along with this is a little out of date, and so this helps bring things up to date. And so you can use this as a resource if you get frustrated and things are not quite working. And with that, I think Jan, Storyteller is gonna actually do a couple of shout outs. We haven't really done like clear shout outs in the past. We've done a little bit, but not really done it in the section that we meant to. But I think one of the shout outs is related to Meteor Desktop, right?
Yes, that's correct. We already gonna shout out Sacha and his work in the past in Meteor and currently with the surveys. And speaking of Meteor Desktop and all of that, I would like to shout out here specifically what a user called DD137, Doran, who has been doing a tremendous work here, fixing everything that we have issues here and moving things forward. As you can see, my main contribution is here mostly just releasing stuff and updating the changelog and kind of putting everything together. So thanks to him, Meteor Desktop is again moving. So, tip of the hat to you, sir. Great work. And hopefully we can get Meteor Desktop again up and running. Still some more issues, to work on because it's a big project.
Can you just tell us a little bit about Meteor Desktop? Because I've never used it myself. So,
So Meteor Desktop, similarly to, say, the Cordova integration, integrates Electron into your Meteor app and allows you to build, for desktop as your Meteor application as a program that you would normally install and all that stuff. It's a bit dated, but that's kind of the main gist of it, and we are trying to get it back up to speed with everything. And you can see here some old examples of how it loads up, all of that. Actually, it's close related to the Cordova integration as well. Might be a bit hacky, but as I said, we are working to fix it. And
so this is like how VS Code is built, right?
Similarly, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And the second shout out is to Nacho Codoner, who has been pretty much came and did a big review and fix up of in Meteor browser test of all the different modern browsers and say their runners. So Puppeteer, Playwright, Selenium, all of that. He just went through it, fixed as much as he could, and made this package again more up to date and working again. And this is a critical, or not critical, but very important package when you do testing, because this allows you to see the results of your test in the browser instead of just a console, and allows you to test primarily, and the main function is to test in your client-side components.
So this is a tool that you would use for like scripted automated testing of different browser types.
The main thing is it plugs in, in either Puppeteer, Playwright, or other, front end testing tools, and so that you have then common package from which those tests are run, and you have common output and all that stuff. And it's part of, as it's here, of Meteor testing packages. There are other packages in Meteor testings that are even used by the core team themselves. So I would say quite important piece of the whole Meteor structure in the community space. So yeah, many thanks, Nacho, and hopefully we'll have more contributions from you as well.
So I just want to break in here a little bit and just, as a little bit of housekeeping, a reminder to everyone that, if you're finding value in this and you'd like to see us continue doing it, please subscribe to the channel, like the episode, and very important also is try to share this with your developer friends who are either developing in a Meteor and no Meteor, or you want to let them know that, by the way, here's a toolkit that they might want to try using, and letting them know that we are trying to share as much information and help shortcut the search space for useful tools that can be used by developers to increase their productivity. So like, share, and subscribe, please. And right now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our live chat to see if there is anything here that no questions right now. So we need a cheer button. All right, so I'll read some of the things that that's been posted into the live chat. We have Jan from Germany. Well, a different Jan. Is that from Germany? Jan?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we're filling up with Jans today. So we had Jan that's in the live chat, and said hello to him, and Kelly Copley, who Kelly's part of the group that's built. Jan and Kelly worked on the socialized packages, and he's a longtime developer, and here in the States. Hey, Kelly, it's good to see you. I'm not sure what the Hacker News note was about.
Oh, that was about me, because I couldn't remember the Y Combinator news page, how it was named. Okay. So it's Hacker News.
All right, that's great. And then Daniel Dornhart, who, as I'll mention as we get very closer to the end, has done some interesting writing, and I'll talk about that in a bit, is back in the chat here again. He says we need a cheer button somewhere on the web where viewers can hit and cheer you guys and the contributors. Maybe we should switch to Twitch or something. I don't know about Twitch. Yeah, dual stream to Twitch, possibly. I guess we could look into it. But it's great seeing all you guys. I really appreciate it. And Daniel's going to be a guest next week, and he's going to be contributing to a conversation based on something that he's brought up recently. So let me just pop to that. We're kind of like skipping here around. Normally we do the reminders and then we get to next week, but Daniel Dornhart has written an article that we have a link in the show notes on everything that he's learned about Blaze and Async in the last 6 months as part of their migration. I am bastardizing, excuse my language, the title here a bit, because it's a very, very long title that he's got otherwise. But in any case, it's a really interesting read. It's really deep and involved, and we thought actually that this would be a great thing to, have a deeper discussion of in the last half of the show next week. So Daniel's going to be joining us. We're looking forward to seeing him there, and hopefully, for the folks that are on the road to 3.0, in terms of starting their thoughts about migrations, they'll be able to get some useful information out of that, and then with the conversation we have with him, perhaps get a little more insight. And if they're participating in the chat, then they might be able to ask him some questions about his own experience as we go through this. So with that, let me just pop into the reminders. And just again, we talked about subscribing to the channel. I don't want to beat that to death, but it really does help. And we're moving on. I got to tell you that since we started, this is our 7th episode. We started with this channel having 20 subscribers. We've gained 50 in the time that we put these episodes together. And one of the things we've noticed in the analytics is that in the latest episode that we had last week, about 80% of our viewers were return watchers. They were subscribers. And so that to me is amazing, and it's great. And that's what we're looking forward to. We're building our community online to reflect the community that we have at large. So if we continue to do this and we can continue to bring value to you, we're very happy. And as we grow it, I think one of the things I love is when we're able to bring other people in, and then they get to know each other, and then they start doing cool things together, and then they let us know about that, because that was part of the fun of doing the live meetups. And 1 week there'd be like 2 people that come to meet up, they meet each other, and then 3 weeks later they come back and they either have a company they started, or they have a project that they've built and they want to share it with others, or they discovered something like very early on. We had a couple of guys in there. I think it was Nick and Tom Goldenberg. Tom Goldenberg, who, by the way, is running for mayor of New Haven right now. If you're in the Connecticut area and you can vote there, he's down to the wire right now. November comes, he is shooting to become mayor. So that would be a really big thing for the Meteor community to be able to say that we have a former Meteor guy who is now mayor of a major city in New York, in the United States, in Connecticut. So in any case, he and this other fellow, Nick, ended up meeting, talking about React Native, and then in a few weeks later, they put together one of the first Meteor React Native tutorials online. And, it was terrific. I mean, that you create these forums and then people do amazing things with it. So I'm gushing about, the fact that we've got some return people, and maybe it sounds like I'm talking about a lot about a little thing, but to me it matters. All right. So beyond that, what I'd love to also do is remind everybody to contribute to Awesome Meteor. And we have the link in the show note. We talked about that, I think it was last week, right? Awesome Meteor is a project that where we try to catalog all the awesome things that Meteor is used in, whether it's on projects, the people that are involved, the companies that are using it, and so on. So we like to have like a central repository, and we're reviving that and contribute to it. Participate in the hackathon. In Hacktoberfest. There's a hackathon, I think, also being considered, but participate in Hacktoberfest, because that'll be a great way for you to, excuse me, get involved in an open source project. And if you want to support open source development, a lot of our open source participants, many of them, they do the work on their time and on their dime. There are people that are fortunate enough to work for companies where they get allocated time to doing open source work, and that's terrific. And we love companies that offer that. But for the independent software developers that do everything in building packages, building software for others to be able to benefit from, I think you could show some appreciation to them by sponsoring them if they have sponsoring available. And 2 of our members here, Jan and Jan, have GitHub sponsorships, and those links are in the description. I think, excuse me, I think Storyteller was telling me that somebody may have from the community, from the podcast, may have reached out and offered a bit of a sponsorship, which is great. So yeah, continue to do that, because it makes people feel appreciated, and it makes their work feel appreciated. So I don't really have anything else to add, guys. Is there anything else that we need to talk about before we close out for the weekend?
No, I think we are fine. We have covered everything. More news coming next week. Some of the last things that came up like yesterday or the day before didn't make it into this episode will be up next week. So we have more time to discuss it on the forums and have more news for that.
We're going to be bringing up isomorphism, which we planned on talking about this week, but we had some nuances that we wanted to make sure that we covered well. And so we pushed that into next week. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us again. You guys have a lovely weekend. I'm going to be driving for 400 miles today, so I've got to get in the car in a couple of minutes.
Safe travels.
But, have fun, guys, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Okay. And